talking about the obvious. We're talking about De Zerbi. Yeah, we saw the interview, and I just want to react to it quickly and get these guys' thoughts. So, I will start with Supreme. Like, what was your thoughts, of course, on the actual interview?
Thought it was good in the fact that he addressed the Mason Greenwood situation, because I think that a lot of fans have been, well, a part of our fan base has been very concerned about statement he made, well, comments he made on Mason Greenwood and what that means for his future, and obviously him being at Spurs. So I thought it was good that from the bat he addressed that, and I actually liked how he spoke about the club. You know, he spoke about the club's prestige and how big the club is, and the fact that he wants to be here for a long time. So I thought it was a good interview. It was much more in line, I think, in the fans' kind of ideology of the club to what we got from Thomas Frank about losing games and all that nonsense. So I thought as an opener, it was pretty decent.
Yeah, box office. What was your thoughts on that interview? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did watch it. Listen, I do agree. I do think it's good that he addressed the elephant in the room about Mason Greenwood, just address it, which I think was important. And it was interesting what he said about. Well, I knew that it was said in the statement when he joined that he was going to stay till the end for next season, regardless what happens. I was interested when he said he wasn't going to talk about philosophy. That was because that was where I was like, okay, so now you definitely know that he wants to stay up because but the proof will be in the pudding on that one. Let's be honest here.
Why do you think he would still go to types and ignore that and try?
No, but the thing is, though, he's still got the same players. You've still got the same players that have done the stats that we've already gone over how many times. I don't want to blind people, you know what I mean? So, and that have not won this year and 13 games without a win. So, you
don't think that he can motivate the players? Then you don't think he can get?
Because that's not about motivating the players, but it's the same players, bro. It's the same players. So it ain't, for me. It's a foregone conclusion at the moment for me.
So, wait, trying to cut you. Are you saying then you'd have preferred? Well, not preferred. Would we be better off with just having Tudor then?
No. I still wanted him out, yeah. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody's. Like I said to you, nothing's changed in terms of me thinking it's too late. It's too late now for me. You know what I mean? I still think it's too late. But in saying that, from what he said, I thought. It was quite good to see that he knows where we are in the situation. He needs to adapt with the players he's got right now to get results, because this is no time for philosophy right now.
Let's just talk about the results for a second, because we've got 7 games coming up. I'm going to cut to the chase, and our next game is Sunderland. We've got Sunderland, we've got Brighton, and then after Brighton, we've got Leeds. Now we know we've got De Zerbi in charge, and he said, you know what? Ditch the tactics. Let's just get the results. Let's keep the team in the league. I'm going to come to you, Sar. Like, what's your thoughts on those next 3 games? Can you see Sunderland being, I don't know, somewhat of a problem, because they're not a team necessarily that are going to low block, but they're not a team that's going to be front-footed either?
I think that what's happened to Tottenham of late is that teams don't respect us. They know we've got 12, 13 players, and they can just come and impose what kind of game plan, whatever they feel like. And I feel like Romero and Micky haven't done themselves no favours of late, because they're not actually playing centre-back, are they? They're playing in midfield, they're playing left wing, they're playing left, forward. They're not occupying their actual position of the pitch. And I just feel as though that these teams, if it's been going how it should be, how it has been, that hopefully they do come and try to disrespect us. And as our better players come back, we can start getting back to the team, even that we were under Thomas Frank when he had Kudos and such. So I do believe that Sunderland will come to play their game of football, because they just won't respect us, and they're playing at at home, and I think that could play into our favour a little bit.
Yeah, it's true. They could come at us.
Teams don't respect us, don't no more. They don't see Maddison. They don't see Kuleveski on the sheet. They know we can barely keep the ball in an offensive way. Like back in the day when we had Maddison and Kuleveski, we could sustain an attack, meaning that we could keep putting the ball into the box, into dangerous areas, and it used to be quality of putting the ball away. But now we can't even. It's like if we don't score in that peak of that attack, we just don't score. Whereas before we could keep the ball, and through tenacity and recycling we could maybe score from that way. So I just feel as though Sunderland will implement their game plan, and I just think that could play into our hands a little bit.
So do you think we will beat Sunderland then? You think we'll win? That would be his first victory, or do you think it will be like a tricky game where he loses his first game?
I feel you're still there, yeah. I feel as though it's a winnable game because we're away from home. But Sunderland in their form at the moment, they just seen off Newcastle at home pretty easily, didn't they? I know they go a goal behind, but then I think from going a goal behind, it sort of sprung them into action like an injured animal. And actually, Newcastle came off the worst off of the two. But there was large periods where Newcastle could have, got back in that game. Maybe if they were a bit better in the first half, they maybe would have gone in at half time ahead or level. But I just think that it's a hard one to gauge because we haven't won a game in the Premier. We've won one game in the Premier League since after Kudus got injured, and that was against Crystal Palace. You could argue that we're better than us, really, on the day, but we managed to get a goal and defend it. And Kudus probably will make the bench for that game. But I would like. I think if Kudus was starting and had been playing for a while, I think that was a game we can win. But I just feel as though probably getting a point there will be what we could expect, and getting a win there would be a bonus.
Yeah, no, look, listen, it's not going to be an easy game against Sunderland, and I'm just talking about probabilities. And I'll go back to box office to get your thoughts because we've lost obviously our last 7+ games.
7+ games, yeah. I think we drew against Liverpool, didn't we?
We drew against Liverpool, yeah. And then
all of them, we've just lost all of them, haven't we?
We've lost, we haven't picked up a win, sorry. So we haven't picked up a win in 7.
We haven't picked up a win in 13.
Right, so 13. So do you think then from 13 and then the rest of the season we're not going to pick up a single win? Is that what you're saying? We're going to go like
I don't see any. I just don't. I see what Supreme's saying, but unfortunately, a leopard doesn't change their spots, like I say. And for me, I think they've shown that. Like I said, I changed. I'm not changing from what I said. As soon as West Ham come out that relegation zone, we go in there. We ain't getting out. We are not getting out. I think the best thing we could get is, I agree with Supreme, a draw. That's it. Right? I think the game
performance-wise, though, do you think we'll get a performance like that? They can
from what I'm hearing, from what I saw from De Zerbi, I don't think he's that bothered about performance at the moment. I think it's just about results. But the problem is at the moment. Yeah. But the problem is that if you look at this record mid-season, he ain't done well. He hasn't done well.
Well, let's talk about that, his record, because obviously his record at Brighton's different to his Marseille record. Brighton, of course,
he started the season. He had a pre-season, I think he had. So this is where the issue is. I mean,
I don't think he did. I think there's that misconception. I'm sure he took over at Brest. He took over at Brest, and they had been all over the place. And he took over at Brest. I think they maybe had lost 1-1, maybe, and then he took over at Brest. I don't think he had the pre-season. I think he had the pre-season after he took over.
Yeah, but I do think it's an unusual situation for him, really, to come in 7 games. Right?
Look at Ash. I think he came in while the season was going at Marseille. And I remember he didn't win like. I think he at his first 10 games, I think he maybe lost 2 games, if that. He got a lot of red cards though. That's his big thing.
I don't listen. listen, it's not that I'm bashing the guy because I see that he's a good coach, right? But I stick by what I say. He needs to prove himself. One, I don't care about it at the moment because I don't like the. I think we'll get into the parameters of why he's coming into it, hopefully later on. But just looking at these games at the moment, I don't know how, because I look at Tudor and I don't think he was great. Tudor, I wanted him out because I just thought it was just an absolute disaster. But the things that he did, I know he was pragmatic. I don't see him doing anything different with these players that he did. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, Kudus is coming back, but he ain't fit. He ain't match fit, so you can't rely on him. Don't talk to me about Bergvall and Archie Gray because I'm sorry. Bergvall is just don't get me started with him. And Archie Gray, everyone's going over the top about him. I'm sorry.
Had a good second half for Sweden the other day. Come up with some an important attacking action that led to them going to the World Cup.
Yeah, but again, we're doing this again with youngsters. I'm sorry, they're not the guys. You know what I mean? I'm looking at them all my senior players at the moment, and on my forward line and my defense, and but like I said, it'd be interesting to see how he approaches these games now because he knows from what you saw from that first interview, he knows he can't just use his implement his philosophy right now. He needs to just get results. So I'm interested to see how that looks. That's what I'm interested to see because what I thought is that he was going to try and implement his philosophy. And if you're going to do that, you can't do that in 7 games. You cannot do that in 7 games. Right? So for me, that was us down. That was it for me. Way he spoke in that interview, that first interview, was saying, well, at the moment, forget the philosophy right now. I need to stay up. And then we can move on from there. Then we can start thinking about pre-season and thinking about what players need to stay and go. You know what I mean?
So was it season? Was it 24-25 season that he joined?
Yeah. He came in.
His first game was he lost 1-0 against Rennes, and there was a red card there, right? And then, actually, don't wait. Don't quote me on this.
No, I remember him coming in at a Brest game, and he won.
If that's the case, yeah, from Brest, that means he came in what, November? Is that when he came in?
Look at that game. Yeah.
So that game he came in, he won 3-0 against Brest. That was his first game.
Yeah, that's where it began from, I'm sure.
And then Champions League, it looks like Atalanta, he lost 1-0. That was his next game. And then Nate's 2-0. But then after that, he won 6-0. I know it's a different league, but then 1-0, 3-2. He lost the game.
But the difference is, though, Ashmatic, he's not coming in straight. He's not coming in mid-season. And he's definitely not coming in.
You're right.
You're right. Again, I'm not trying to. Well, I mean, I'm just being honest right now, right? I've got no emotion to this manager right now, so I don't have any emotion to it. So sorry, people take this what they will, take hurt from this, but that's how it is. But I do think that it's a very unusual situation at the moment. You know what I mean? He ain't a firefighter, right? And not that I wanted Daesh because I thought that's a load of rubbish. But, I just think...
Yeah, but when people start talking about firefighting and that, there's firefighting and that with Ashley Barnes and Chris Woods and stuff. You're not going firefighting with Romero and people like that. Like, this is the thing. You've tried doing... Like, that's what Thomas Frank was playing from the get-go. He's playing dueling, fucking playing the percentages, less technical, less... what's the word? Imagination, and more just brute force to win games. These players don't want to play like that. And that's the mad thing is as well. Like, you can look at one player and say, shit, do you know what I'm saying? Luka Modric, would always probably have never got to the levels he got to if you kept him at Spurs. But it's the same way that you can take Luka Modric out and say, oh, you can put him around better players, which we see happen to big signings all the time, and it doesn't happen. It's like it's a two-way street. You can and you can't compare Igor Tudor and what they're going to do is the same, because I keep saying this. Igor Tudor refused to play a back four. Well, these players are comfortable in playing. Well, they've won all their points playing in the back four. It was his choice to come in here, and like a lot of the fans do, thinking that let's play a back three. But I keep saying it all the time. Till you go and get yourself a Wharton, Baleba, an Agume, Stankovic, till you go and get yourself a real good midfielder that can control midfield. And what I mean by that is with passing actions, making the people in front of him not sure whether to go and press tight and be up in your grill or stand back and be in front of their back four. Once you have a midfielder like that, then you can start playing free at the back. But for now, yeah, you can't be leaving, like you've spoken about, like these kids that are still learning their way in the game, to go up into being a two-man midfield and expect them to dominate and expect them to come out on top. It's not going to happen.
And also, we've got most of our players are athletes rather than footballers at the moment.
But I think that's the way football's gone.
Yeah, but my point is, though, is that if we want to play this passing game, you need more footballers in your team, and most of our footballers are injured at the moment. You know what I mean? And
I agree with that.
Most of our footballers are young kids.
But to be fair, he did say that, you know, forget style right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see how he does that. You see what I'm saying? Because we haven't seen him do this.
Because one constant theme that everyone forgets about this team that people say it's not very good, they still dominate possession. They still average 50% possession or more in all the games that they've played. So, like I say, Thomas Frank, it's all right saying that like these players are shit and whatever, but then I always say this: you can't keep calling the manager shit and then saying all the players are shit. It don't work like that. There has to be a happy medium. And
one caveat though is, are the players jaded from like the previous previous managers, because there seems to be a lack of motivation. Can he turn that around? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't like that. I don't like that thing, because we forget the stats. We forget the stats of this team was 17th, right? Since that game against Chelsea, first season with Postecoglou, after Chelsea 4-1, right? We went a downhill trajectory, right? So let's not try and make up for this and start making.
Yeah, but it's not talked about enough. It's like if you take the best players out of most teams, you take fucking Boubacar Kamara at Aston Villa, and they've been on the slide.
Yeah,
you take Rodri at Man.
They haven't been on a massive slide like us, though. Let's not.
No. Because
let's not do that. Let's not do that, Supreme.
But what I'm trying to explain is, you take the best players out of all these teams, their results change. We've seen it with PSG when they've been without Fabio Ruiz, and to begin with, they were getting beat by everybody.
But we've been going downhill for 3 years now.
No, but what I'm trying to say is, yeah, we have a few good players, and once you take those few good players out, it's very, very hard to be on the same level.
With our good players, so I'm sorry, Supreme, we can't do this, because factually, that's wrong. That is wrong, right? Factually, we've been going downhill. Stats have been saying this. Points per game, it's been saying this, right? That's why I've got. This is why I think we deserve to get relegated, right? We finished 17th last season as well, right? Because the teams were rubbish in the Premier League last season, who are in the bottom three, right? This season, right, we've had 2 home wins. 2 home wins. That's relegation. That is relegation. So, you know what I mean? Worst team in Europe, 46 defeats. Right? Calendar of the year last year was terrible. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but the facts are telling you that the facts are factually we're wrong here.
I just feel what I'm trying to say is, yeah, there's a difference with playing with the likes of Dragson in your back four, who I hate to say, who's been actually against Liverpool, for example, you know, putting in the kind of performance that we expect. All right, he's not technically great with the ball at his feet, but he's willing to do whatever it takes to keep the ball out of the net. But my point is, we have a few good players, and that's the football club's fault. Like, I do agree with some of the stuff you're saying, and the fact that you finished 17th and you're still trying to load your squad with lone players that are just here for 6 months or a year, and not going out and buying the quality players that you need. Like, obviously in January, you go and buy Conor Gallagher, a player that on paper and tactically and aesthetically doesn't suit what we needed, but yet you go off and you do that. And I think for those kind of decisions. They could be the decisions. I agree with you, box office, that get you relegated. But I always believe that a Tottenham team of Kulusevski and Maddison and Kulusevski, Maddison, and Kudos fit and available, like, I don't think gets in this problem. Because
I agree. I do. Sorry to interrupt. I do agree with you. Even though I've criticised, and I've got to say, I have criticised Kulusevski. I still think he's better than Javi Simmons for what he gives us, and Maddison's 100% better than what we give us because he makes a pass. He can find the pass very easily, right? So that's where even Ashmatic can back me up on this. I have criticised Kulusevski.
I've been on here when you've been killing him.
I've been criticising Kulusevski, right? But then looking at Javi Simmons for what he gives us, I think Kulusevski was better, but what he gave us more. You know what I mean? Because he gave us more.
In that short space of time when we got Kulusevski in that first 6 months under Conte, you would say that in that system when Kulusevski first came, he had Kane and Son. Kulusevski's got who in front of him? Do you know what I mean? I mean, not Kulusevski. Javi Simmons has got who in front of him. So, yeah, it's a hard one to say because right now we haven't got Maddison available. And even if Maddison does come back and does feature in the season, how many games is it likely to be? And will it be enough to save us? Kulusevski, look, I know he's like the World Cup and he was there singing with Bergvall, but realistically, how many games is he getting at Tottenham?
He's going to want to play, because he's going to want to be in a position where he's not just playing his first games at the World Cup, that he's had this last few bits of bone now sucked out of his knee. And he'd like to hope that, from what I hear from people that are close to him, that he sees himself playing, I think, for Tottenham before the season's out. But, he's missed almost a year of football. So, there's Kudos, who's been out for a few months, but then there's Kulusevski, let's be honest, he's missed a year of football. So you just don't know what version of him you're going to get back. And he's a player, let's be honest, that he's either in form or he's not. Like Maddison, he can be out of form, but still come out and do something pretty special. And he can come back from an injury and take 6-7 games to be at his brilliant best. But maybe in them 6-7 games, when he's getting back to his best, he still creates that assist, still gets you that goal. Whereas Kulusevski, let's be honest, he has to be at his best to be really effective. It's quite a physical play. He's tall. He's quite muscular. He's not very quick. I'd say he's more explosive than quick. And I do believe. I think that I don't think we'll see the best of him. I just don't think there's enough time. But I think with Kudos, I think he will be the difference. I really do.
Let's talk about Robert De Zerbi as a gamble, because he's known to blow up. He's known to have a hot head. Like, how long do you think he will last if he was to stay in the Premier League and we weren't to get relegated?
Listen, I just want to say something on this, right? I think he will last because he's got control, right? Because Tottenham messed himself so much, and gave him, and because they were so desperate, because this is desperate, right? He's the manager. Forget this head coach thing. He is the manager, right?
Yeah.
This is now like Alex Ferguson sort of thing. Now, me saying he's like Alex Ferguson, like Eddie Howe right now at Newcastle, it's a situation because he's got his reputation and he had the strength in this negotiation because we were desperate for him. He was our number one target, and because Johan Lang and Vinay are so useless, right? And because I think now the board have looked at it and thought, well, you're our football guy right now because we can't trust these two. That's why he's had the strong negotiation, and that's it really. I don't like the fact he's got loads of control though. I don't like it. I don't think
I do.
Agree? I don't think he's got the. I don't think he's got the.
I do, because, like, at the end of the day, if he keeps us up, I think he's already earned that. If he keeps us up, he deserves to have the control, because for him to come in and fix Vivian's and Vinay's and Nick's and all these people's mess, he does deserve to have a say, because they've all shown as a group, they're incompetent. and
they've already shown it.
If they're left to it, they would relegate the club anyway. So I feel that I would rather have our future in the hands of the man who's expected to go out there and coach the players. Why should he have to come in here and have to put up with people behind him, the likes of Conor Gallagher? You having a laugh?
Devil's advocate, though. Hear me out. Not my opinion, but as a host, I want to throw this out here. Vivian's had how long in charge of the club?
8 months, 9 months.
8, 9 months. Okay, so how long would we give De Zerbi, for example? Like, is there like a limit where we're like, by January he needs to be in the top half minimum? If he's outside,
I think if he keeps us up, I think if he keeps us up, I think if he's like,
that's enough buy-in. If he keeps us up, so he gets the whole season.
No, I was saying if he keeps us up, then I think he does get a bit of a level of compassion that probably Thomas Frank. Well, that's the thing now. Thomas Frank's had this compassion that he never really deserved, and he was here for far too long. But I think that De Zerbi will automatically, if he keeps us up, he will get a little bit more, and that long contract, you know, he's got a death row contract for himself. So it's like, it's all right him being able to blow up and leave, but he will be different because he will want to get that payout if he is to leave or is to get sacked. So I think it's different. A lot of the time we're talking about an 18-month contract at 5 or 6 million. We're talking about a 5-year contract at double that kind of money. I think his stance will change, and I think that the football club, I know that obviously we can't just keep saying, oh, the stadium and the training grounds are enough to attract people, but obviously these are things that De Zerbi is building his buy-in from. Like, he looks at London, he looks at the training ground, he looks at players like Vuskovic and stuff on the outskirts of this football club, thinking if I can keep these up, and actually I'm in the best place I could possibly be. So I just feel like his stance will probably, I think he will soften a bit.
I don't agree with this. I think I don't like the fact that he's got all the control. I don't think that's good at all. I don't think he's got the pedigree for it either. He's not a Mourinho. He's not a Pep Guardiola. And even Pep Guardiola wasn't even full in control. He had his guy, Tiki. Was it Tiki?
Not Monchi. Tiki. That guy.
Yeah, that guy. That and he was the main guy. And the thing is, though, you don't let. He's a head coach. He's never been in full control. He's never been full of control.
I don't know, he might have been in Italy. I'm not sure. I've read.
I don't know. But from what I've seen,
Italy, they've got a different structure. So some of the managers had more say and more control on what dealings they had with the transfer. They had more say.
He had a lot of say at Sassuolo. He had a lot of say at Marseille, and at both clubs he bought good players.
Marseille as well.
That's one thing about him.
Yeah.
And he bought Locatelli and that there. I'd have Igor Paxao at Spurs. I'd have those players. I'd have that.
My point is, I don't think head coaches turn into good managers. I don't think they are, right? And I think a lot of people. For me, it's just to wait and see what happens. I wanted a more structured thing with a director of football, identity.
That's still going to happen.
I don't. Well, we're doing it the other way around, and I don't know. You've given De Zerbi so much control here that you've got to make sure that this director of football that you're going to get in, because you need somebody else with Lohan Lang because he's absolutely useless. That this director of football gets on with.
Yeah, but De Zerbi's going to have say in that. So,
well, that's the thing. But I don't. I still have a problem with this. I don't think he should have loads of control.
Well, I don't, because the current people that have been making the decisions up until now have put us into the position where we're fighting relegation. So as I keep saying, that ultimately, if De Zerbi is here for 5 years, like, this is the thing, that normally what happens is the manager comes in and he'll say, yeah, these are all great players that you're buying me. And then when things don't go wrong, what does he do straight away? He says, oh, the sporting director bought these players and I never rated them. I had to get behind them. So actually, for me, makes complete sense, because we've had Lange spend £430 million, from Paratici. Paratici had this club for around 4th to 8th. yeah, and all of his players, bar one, started that Europa League final. And Lounge was well into 200 million by then, and now he spent 400 million, and we're thick in a relegation battle. So what you're going to say is, if he's not picking the players and whatnot, you're leaving it to Lounge and stuff to buy him Conor Gallagher, like I just said. So I would rather have someone like De Zerbi picking the players, because he picks good players. There's players that he's picked that we would have in this team today, like Locatelli, etc. So, like, it makes complete sense to me. Like, it would be mad if he was to come in and you're going to allow him to get even more into bed with these people that have been making the decisions.
I would have said, but the problem is, the difference is that I would have got them out before that. You know what I mean? I would have got them out.
But that's not our reality. Our reality is that they're still here.
Yeah, and I know their reality. I know that's my reality. But the point
so it makes complete sense for if in the medium short term he's having more of a say.
Yeah, but I don't think that's right. I don't think a manager should have that right. I don't think they should. Only if you are, and it looks desperate to me. They've just literally just at least, sacrificed a lot of control to this guy that, for me, hasn't proved anything yet at Tottenham. Right? He ain't no elite manager right now. He ain't, right, with the teams he's managed, right? Because he ain't won loads of trophies. I mean, if you want to start,
but this is what we do. This is what some people do. You're flirting
then, because he's won trophies.
But you're flirting between saying that this club's finished 17th last season, this club's down there again, and now you're expecting that to come from where we're at the moment and just get all this great footballing structure and identity.
No, I didn't say that
overnight.
The club have to reset first. The club.
Yeah, but you don't know. But this is the thing: when people talk about all this reset and all this, let me please go box office. Is that it's delusional. The club is in free fall at the moment. Someone has to grab it. Yeah, who's got footballing experience and footballing nous. The most experienced person in that building right now, in terms of football management and being in the Premier League, setting up a team, winning games, is De Zerbi. So it's all right saying that we should have this and we should have had it years ago, but we don't. We don't have none of it.
Well, it's not deluded,
1 second. And what fans do is, like, they moan about like getting De Zerbi now permanent, but who else are you going to get anyway?
Yeah,
we are desperate.
We are desperate. So that's the problem, right? And that's not a structure. That is not a structure.
No, but the whole point is, yeah. Since we lost Paratici, David Pleat, and Gabbanini, especially David Pleat, when we talk about identity and heritage, it's gone. It's gone.
We agree. We agree on this.
So the reality is, yeah, if you're asking me who I would put my last poker chips on and the last bit of money that we've got, etc., I'd give it to De Zerbi before Lange, Vinay, and Nick. And the reality is, I keep saying it. It's all right saying, oh, you shouldn't have this, you shouldn't have that. We shouldn't have a Tavistock director who's not listed as at the football club, but uses his power from being at Tavistock to making decisions. Yeah, so it's all right saying don't let De Zerbi do this, don't do it.
Yeah, but
no. Let me just finish this. But if it's not De Zerbi making these decisions, it's Nick Bashir, it's Matthew Collicott, it's Vinay, and it's Lange, and you don't like that either. So it has to go one way or the other.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That is the problem. That is the problem. What I'm saying at the moment, you keep on saying about them. Look, I don't want them. I don't think they should be in charge. That's the point. That's why I'm saying now, eating it out now, because they're not going to change. They are not going to change, right?
At least Zerbi
but the point I'm making is you need to have a structure, right? And unfortunately, right, the only way to do that maybe was us to go down for them to really actually make that structure.
No, because that's just delusional as well. Because they ain't selling the football.
Let me finish my point. Because I hear what you're saying. To say that, yeah, De Zerbi's our football guy. I see what they're trying to do, but at the same time, you don't give somebody that much control when they've hardly been at the football club. They are not a director of football, right? They've not been in a situation before, right? At a club that have been up and down, right? That have been going downhill. I actually agree with you about the whole thing about Paratici. Even though I didn't like him, I didn't like him, right? But I've been sticking up for him because I've been saying by what the research I've done about him, he knows how to do that director of football role. He knew how to do that director of football role. That's why he left in November.
The biggest thing that you have to accept as well is that he's got contacts that these guys don't have.
100%.
These guys don't have. And for the medium to short term, I've got no problem. He ain't got time to pick out players and scout players and find gems. We're getting a new director of football. That's already in motion. But the reality is, like, whether people like this or not, like, you can have a director of football, yeah, and he makes all the decisions, or you can have a manager who obviously, like what's going on at Arsenal, where Arteta has a lot of say about where Berta is going to find certain players and what certain players he's willing to have and ones he doesn't want to have. He has a lot of say in what's going on. What's the name has a lot of say in what's going on at the moment over at Barcelona about how they're going to attack the summer, the manager there. So, like, managers having a lot of say, it happens. But the thing is, what you also have to accept, that football changes all the time. And it was only these last 4 or 5 seasons, where the director of football has now become like this poignant person, whereas it would be a person in the background and the manager would still be saying, I want this kind of player, I like this player, but if you can get me a player like that player, yeah, then let's roll with it and let it run. But I think this obsession about what De Zerbi has say on and what he doesn't is really irrelevant, because if he goes out and says, I want these 3 players, but it's like Jurgen Klopp come out and said, I want Alisson and I want Van Dijk. They're the 2 players I want. They're the players I want to build around. You get me those 2 players, and everything else I'm willing to listen to.
How many years did Klopp was at Liverpool for before he did that? How many years?
It was straight away.
No, but how many years? No, that's not true.
No, but he had a strategy. But they didn't just do that overnight. They built a strategy. They said that what player can we sell for the most money and can we live without, which was Coutinho, and then that's going to be our vehicle to get these players. But those were the 2 players that he asked for. And then they built around those.
How many years was he there before?
Relevant. It's irrelevant.
No, it's not relevant. It's not relevant. You can't say it's relevant.
Because that's what he did.
You just said about Liverpool.
I think he
had 2 years at Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, I think he got him within 18 months. But the plan, like he said, that when he said in his documentary, that was his plan from the get-go. That's what I'm saying. Like, listen to what I'm saying. He went there and said, I want these 2 players. So they had to think of a vehicle, how they were going to get these 180 million. I think it cost about 170 million. And Coutinho didn't cost that much money. They built a strategy. So whether you like it took him 2 years to get it, maybe he showed the patience to wait for 2 years.
So that's the point. You're now saying, so you're comparing Liverpool's situation when Klopp, right, to us, right? Liverpool Klopp, like I said, had 2 years, right? 2 years of where he had 2 years of one. He was in the final, and I think he was in the final of the Champions League as well, right? Okay, and he lost both of them. I think it was right. I think he was unlucky and lost both of them.
Yeah, no, he lost the Europa.
So that's completely different to Tottenham, where they've literally brought in a manager, right, and given him full control without any years ahead of it. Not even proved anything yet at Tottenham, right? So, I mean, that's completely 2 different situations. I get. Oh, listen, I applaud you for making it.
It's not the Liverpool situation. It's the fact that manager come in and said, these are the 2 players I want to build around. That's the only thing I'm bringing into it. I don't care what Liverpool didn't do. I'm just saying that manager come in and said, I want these 2 fucking players. End of. Don't care if it took him 2 years.
Yeah, but
these are expensive footballers. So if I want these 2 players, maybe I have to wait a little and things have to happen. But he asked for those 2 players, like he always talks about. Those are the 2 players that he got. Liverpool went from strength to strength once they got those players. So if De Zerbi comes in and says, I want these 3 players to build around first, he goes and gets those players. So you talk about Jose Mourinho, yeah, but Jose Mourinho had his start before he had his end. You know, he didn't just come in world class. Like he built something that then went on to be successful. Like
he had more credibility in the bank, though.
He had time. Like what we can't do and what you can't be doing unfairly. He said, I want to come in the summer where I could rebuild it and I can have a preseason. But he's come now. So you have to give him respect.
Because he got loads of money. Because he had loads of money. How can you say
but the money's
you can't say that. You can't say that. Serene, we've got to start talking about context here, right? Now you're saying that he's
but we were paying Thomas
because he's coming in summer. He's coming in because he's got loads of control. He had because he had over a barrel because Tottenham were desperate. That's why he's coming, and he's got loads of control.
No, that's how
why.
he's got his
So
deal.
we can't just say, "Oh, give him credit because he's coming in."
Yeah, but he doesn't have to come.
He's the third most bloody.
No, but he doesn't have to. Yeah. You're talking £12 million a year, and the bonus he only gets. The bonus he only gets if he keeps Spurs up. So that's, like I say, it's still big balls, because it's not 10 million on top. Just for turning up, it's 10 million on top if you keep Spurs up, and you deserve the 10 million because the money that we would lose if we were to go down. But like I said, it's easier for him, like it was, Conte. Like, I don't want to come now. I would prefer to come in the summer. But it's like, end of the day, we have to pay for that. It's not like taking over a club that's mid-table here. Like, if Spurs go down, that would be really like. People will say Thomas Frank sent us on our way, but he will still be the one whose name it's next to. So, like I say, it's big balls. Like, he doesn't need.
I don't think it's big.
We needed him more than he needed that job.
Yeah, well, you're right there, but I don't think it's big ball. And by the way, Thomas Frank is not. Yeah, he shouldn't be in charge. No, but it's not his fault. It's not even Igor Tudor's fault. This is a player problem. This is an Enoch problem, right? Because we've been going downhill for a long time, right? So the trajectory of Tottenham is not gone down just because of the Thomas Frank or Pacific manager. This has been going downhill for a long time.
Yeah, right? But still, there's a job to do, isn't there?
And the proof of the pudding is
there's a job to do, and Thomas Frank, once he lost Kudos, was short of ideas.
I don't agree with that, because the thing is, I think people forget that we lost Son, even though he was going downhill, right? And the big stat is since Harry Kane left the club, right, we've been going really downhill because of his goals and assists.
You could say we got fifth without Harry Kane.
but
and we scored quite a lot of goals as well without Harry Kane.
But we didn't.
Even though Harry Kane's a top player, we can't replace Harry Kane. It's very hard to replace a player.
Matty, we didn't get into Champions League without Gareth Bale, right, and Kane. We wouldn't be in Champions League. It's statistically proof of that.
Yeah, I think Kane was harder to replace, but I think not replacing Son was the big.
That was the killer.
That was the mistake.
You know what I mean? Because it's that one thing, like you had Ange Postecoglou with Son, and he was contributing to goals and assists. Then you had Maddison that was doing the playmaking, which Kane used to do. Do you know what I mean? So with the two of those, you say, all right, cool. And Kulusevski, it can kind of work. But when you lose all three, do you know what I'm saying? And then the following season, we brought Solanke, and that was it. As a mainstay, first teamer, a player that goes into our first 11, surely, like, results are going to drop. We're going to start losing goals because that's just not enough to sustain the level where we want to be or where we want to head to. Do you know what I'm saying? So that, for me, is on the club. And to be fair, has to take some responsibility for accepting it. Do you know what I mean? But now we fast forward to De Zerbi, because we heard what Ange said. Ange said, I wanted Neto. Do you know what I'm saying? I wanted, who else did he want? He wanted
Mark Gahey.
He wanted Mark Gahey. Those are three big players
back then.
He wanted, and then there wouldn't have been as much competition for the Man City player. Do you know what I mean? Coming from Bournemouth, Semenyo. So we might have got him if we laid down the right amount of peas. But again, that was down to the club, not recognizing, not acting fast enough, and and look, now we're giving De Zerbi the power. Maybe, I don't know, because there is the other side to it, and I hear what box office is saying. If De Zerbi's in charge for his first season, because we've had such a calamity of a season, are they going to slap and give him everything, like give him the whole shebang to change the club and turn it around? What do you lot think? Do you think he's going to get a lot of money, or do you think like he can get away with like not spending too much and still be able to turn it around?
I think that naturally some players are going to be sold. So I feel as though money will be freed up, because obviously we're going to lose a Romero. We might lose a Van der Ven. We're going to lose a Porro, I think. And I just think those kind of sales will naturally mean that there's money to spend, and with whatever they'll always top it up with in their weird Enoch way. But I just feel as though that in terms of like the summer, I just feel as though it won't be the summer that will yield lots of players. I still feel as though they'll try and hold on to players. You know, that I wouldn't be surprised if things went well and like on the ways that you can look at it, oh, Spurs will go down or won't win another game. If De Zerbi did well, I wouldn't be surprised if people like Romero would then look at it again and say, actually, I wouldn't mind just staying, you know, because he's not guaranteed to go to somewhere like Real Madrid or somewhere like that. I don't think he'd still be in a rush to leave, but like providing the Spurs were still in the Premier League.
What do you think, box office? Do you think they're going to throw the kitchen sink at it and try to spend like 200 mil, 150? Because if you think back to like when Thomas Frank first walked in and Ange first walked in, their first windows were pretty strong. Do you know what I mean? I'm not talking about like the January and then the second window. We all know what happened after that. But do you think the first window, he gets to really turn it around? And as Sarah said, we probably are going to lose about 3 or 4 players, so there should be enough room. You didn't mention, obviously, Bantancourt, possibly Basuma as well. So that's another 2 places in midfield, alongside Yaporo and Micky van der Ven, possibly, or Romero. Do you know what I mean? And Vicario possibly going as well. So that's about, what, 4 or 5 players. Do you think there's a possibility?
I think they've got money at it, yeah, like they've done before. Whether they've got the capital to do that, I don't know at the moment, because I mean, obviously they're going to get relegated. I mean, they have power. If it depends on what division they're out. But even if they're in the Premier League, I think they're going to struggle with money and stuff, I think, as well. But saying that, I think they will give him what he wants. You know, they've made an agreement with him. You know what I mean?
But we have the Champions League money coming in, though. The champion money was that this season or last? Is next season?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how
it
that
can be
works.
booked next. It gets booked you're in arrears. So the counts were from the 14, 15, 24, 25 season that we've just had. And I think that this Champions League phase will go into next year, because you have to think about it. Yeah, the counts that have just dropped, they wouldn't include what's going on with the Champions League, because effectively, let's just say we beat Atletico Madrid, would still be in it. So you wouldn't be able to take account for the season's Champions League money. So yeah, you'll see it next season. You'll know what you've earned in terms of what you've earned from the competition, but you'll just see that added to next year's figures.
But I don't know how much we're gonna how much money we're gonna have to spend next season. But in saying that, I do think they're gonna back him, whatever they're gonna get, what he wants. Because I mean, they've agreed, you know, to give him control over transfers. You know what I mean, and who's going to be brought in. So I assume, I assume that they're going to give him. Go on.
Don't you think, like, if you're the coach, yeah, because he's actually not like Thomas Frank had the like to work on. He's literally slide tackling players. That's how much on the grass he is. Don't you think that's better for a man that's on the training pitch and seeing it from the sidelines and seeing it day to pick the team? Because if you look at most sporting directors, either failed managers or failed coaches that didn't quite make it, and then they go into the sporting director role, like most of them. So it makes for that's on the touchline, a man that's talking to them every day, in training, is on the pitch, can see what's wrong because he's like literally there. Wouldn't that make sense for him to pick the players that he needs, because he can see what's missing? He might say, okay, I can see
it's
I need a pass.
But it's a big role, though, Asmatic. I don't think people realise how much of a big role it is if you're a manager. And like I said, these big people have big people behind them. You know what I mean? I don't think people realise. You know what I mean? People say, "Oh, we're just doing Alex Ferguson." Alex Ferguson had Gill. Was it? Oh, I forgot his name now. Peter Gill, I think it was in charge behind him. I think Peter Kenyon behind him as well in previous years as well. Like Arsene Wenger had David Dean behind him. You know what I mean? You know?
No, he's gonna get a sporting director, but at the end of the day, yeah, like there's more pressing issues, but we'll get a new sporting director. They've already accepted that Lange is not the man to negotiate.
Yeah, but my point is, though, like while you're doing this, trying to get this sporting director, right? Which he needs to decide. He needs to be in that decision making on that. While that's happening, he's the only one that's going to be doing that with the scouts that are already there at Tottenham at the moment. So, and with that, I don't think the scouts or the people that are in charge of trying to, get these deals over the line are good enough to get these deals over the line at the point anyway. So, because that's why we struggle to get over the line certain players like Gibbs White, Semenyo, all these other players. You know what I mean? So and it does make a difference. It does make a difference. So,
because the reason why I say it is because I remember, sorry to cut you, bro. I remember Postecoglou would get on the phone and he would talk to like Maddison, and Maddison was like, "Yeah, I'm coming." He talked to Micky van der Ven, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm coming." Yeah, and talk to his agent. So listen, I want to come to Tottenham because Tottenham are on smoke. That's what he was saying in that overlap interview. Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking if De Zerbi picks up his phone to a couple of his old dons, like Locatelli, you know what I'm saying? He says, "Yo, what are we saying? Do you want to come? Can you help me with this project?" You know how passionate he is. Possibility he might get a couple guys through the door.
You got a good point there. You got a good point there. I think that
players love him, man. I've seen a couple of players go on TalkSport. Sandro, fucking Lallana, another players come out and said that like this guy's a genius. Dunk, like good play. Van Heck says the guy's a genius. Van Heck says the guy's a genius.
I'm taking Locatelli, by the way. I'm taking Locatelli. Because I'll be a hypocrite if I wasn't.
I'm taking Van Heck as well.
I'm definitely taking Locatelli.
All right, let's watch this video real quick here.
Prince Boateng.
Yeah, let's listen to Prince Boateng to hear what he's got to say. Have you seen his box office?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. No, but I've
seen it. Yeah.
Then see what he's got to say. Let me bring it back a little piece, and let's go.
How do you know?
Because I know. I see the coaches. He's the best in details and being a person, human being. How to make every player and every team he goes, every player gets better.
Because how is it possible? And you've also played.
I played under him, and I was 32 years old, and he made me better.
Wow!
Like every team, he was in Sassuolo. Every player got better. Locatelli went to Juventus. Sensi went to Inter.
Like what's he doing that's doing that?
He lives football 24/7.
Specifically on the training pitch, how is he making you better?
It's all details. Like everything has a reason. Whatever you do, like he puts little squares on the field, so you know you have the ball in this square. 4 squares diagonal, there's going to be the number 8 free. So you get 6 options. Every player has 6 options to pass the ball. It's unbelievable. Like if you put in details, his training.
Distances must be important.
Distances, the position of your body, the pace of the pass, on what foot, on what pace, what position, everything. It's like everything is, you just go on the pitch, and if you get into it, training camp is very hard, very boring because you do all the same things the whole
loads of reps. If you get it wrong, start again.
Passing, he go crazy because he has a character. He go nuts. He will go like Sky Sports came to like film live. They couldn't go live because every 2 minutes he went crazy. Insulting, whatever. But because he want perfection, and he makes normal players great.
Yeah. So that's what we're saying. Like that. It's not just him though. There's other players as well. Have you seen the Lallana one as well? Lallana.
Is that TalkSport?
I can't remember that. I think it was Sky. I can't remember. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, there's a few other players. I'm not going to play all the clips, but they go mad for a minute. Like they speak highly of him.
Players love him, man.
I'm just saying, if he picks up the phone and he speaks to a couple man and he's just mad about football, passionate about it, is there a chance that we get a few bodies through the door like that can raise the level?
I think he would raid Brighton a lot, man, if he could get away with it. I think he'd go there, he'd take Verbruggen, he'd take Van Heck.
Maybe.
Who?
Belieber, maybe.
Yeah. Those would be his 3 players that he'd be all over trying to take out of there, 100%.
Yeah, do you know what it is? I just think like with De Zerbi, like when he's so passionate and he's got the energy that kind of inspires people. Forget the tactics for a second. Because the way Prince Boateng was talking, that used to play for us, he's like, I was 32 years old and he improved me. Imagine you've been kicking ball for how long and he's still learning. So could he get like an extra and forget about tactics for a second, just his motivation, because I'll show you a video in a second. The way he talks and the passion and the energy he talks with, the way he motivates people, I think, if the players can get motivated like a little bit, then that could show throughout the game. We could start winning games here and there, nicking points. Do you know what I mean?
I played at Shrewsbury Town for a few years, and my under 16s year group, they're on about just amalgamating it into like the under 18s, the few good players, and getting rid of the rest. And an ex-player came coach, Kevin Seabury, and he took the same players, me and this team I was in, you know, and there was good players in it, you know, but we were losing every week. There was about 6 players from like Birmingham City and Wolverhampton Wanderers that had been released and were in the Shrewsbury Town 11, and every week we would just lose. And he trained us for 6 weeks, and like what Ash was saying, because he was like finishing his career, he was like training with under 16-year-old lads, tackling us and saying that, like, obviously he's like saying that I wish I could be 16 again and play against you, all of you, every week. You know, you're weak, you're easy to play against. And it was just like little things like what Boateng's saying about the detail, about like, could you pass that ball better? You know, could you, even though you've been taken out of the game, can you now find a way to get back in the game? That's the art of the game. It's never being beaten. And that's what happens in a game. Realistically, it's lots of short moments that you either win or you lose in. But you can be losing and you can still try and turn it around. And a perfect example of that is Romero against Nottingham Forest, when he's lost the ball and he's been given chance after chance after chance, as Seabury would say it, to get back in the game and win his battle. You know, there was 2 battles he could have had in that box that he just chose not to battle in and just not to be involved in. And these are the things I think that De Zerbi can improve. I think that De Zerbi would wind something like that back and go, like, see this is unacceptable. And it's unacceptable because you're better than that. That's why it's unacceptable. Like being beaten by good football happens, by good footballers that on the day are better than you happens. But in moments like that we've seen against Nottingham Forest, that just comes down to having those moments in the game where you need to come off the ropes and turn it around. And like, if you ain't got that little bit of fight like what we've been showing, then that's the mess that we've got into. And I think these are the little things that De Zerbi in his training and when he spends with the players, I think he'll iron out of them.
Yeah, look at this clip here. He's on the actual pitch itself and he's kicking ball with them. And this is what I didn't see from, like, no disrespect to Frank, but you know what I'm saying? I didn't see him getting involved like that.
Never played football though, did he? So
yeah, it's a good point. Makes sense. But you get what I'm saying, isn't it? Like on the training.
Zerbi was actually a really gifted, like inside forward, like number 10.
Yeah, he
got a lot of injuries. He got a lot of injuries, but like when he wasn't injured, and who did he play for? Was it Napoli? Played for Napoli, didn't he? Yeah, he played for Napoli, and
then
well, he was at AC Milan. And he came through, and came through with like Nesta and that, didn't he?
Yeah, that's why he was putting him back into the staff room, because he obviously knows
him. But no, he played for Napoli, and
Baresi, I think also he played for Baresi.
Yeah, but I feel as though he comes from an era of football where Italian football was still good, and they play beautiful football out there. You know, like there was years where Italian football was more watched than the Premier League. Now I'll say that, and a lot of people will laugh at me and say Serie A will watch the Premier. When I was a kid, Serie A was what, you know, like Hernan Crespo and that's going like 40-yard monsters.
Vieri, man.
Yeah, that was his era, you know, like Constance now, a manager, you know, that was his era, you know. So it's like he was a good player. He wasn't, like, to give you the kind of example of probably where I'd see him at, he's like a Harry Wilson kind of player. Like he could win you a game of football, or he could play a game of football you don't even know he's played. And that's how I see Harry Wilson. Some days he's just outstanding, and then other days you don't even realize he's on the pitch. Like, what's he done? And I think having that and being at that level, I feel as though Thomas Frank's never going to have that confidence to start pinging the ball around, unfortunately, with the likes of Romero and stuff. Like De Zerbi would probably back himself today to play winger or play number 10, you know? Whereas Thomas Frank, you know, he's relying on Cochrane and the other good players he's got around him.
Yeah. He's right line on the team.
Yeah. He doesn't need to. But like you just said, Alonso, De Zerbi, Pep, Conte even. Conte kicks ball, you know. Conte kicks
Conte was
ball.
on the pitch too. Yeah, Conte was on the pitch.
It's like sometimes even Roy Hodgson, you know, he talks about when he goes for relegation and that, you know, like, you know, you got to get your boots on and you've got to show the lads, you know, like he said, I'd do the warm up and cool down with them. You've got to be in it with them. You can't be out there calling shots to them or why, like, you're not doing this right. Sometimes you've got to show them. What's his name at Bayern Munich? Company. Seen it the other day with Lucho, with Diaz when he miscontrolled the ball and he showed him like, look, this is how easy football can be. Controls the ball, boom, puts them 2 shots away, you know? Like, obviously, Diaz from an offensive point of view is far better than Company. But Company's saying that, like, you should just be getting that ball dead and boom, it's away.
Yeah. Yeah, but like going back to Box Office's point, obviously, and I said it before, he hasn't quite got that time to kind of like, yes, he's got like obviously a week from today to go on that training pitch and spend time with them. But the reality of it is that we're not going to really see the Zerbi ball this season. Do you know what I mean? But Box Office, would you agree though, if he does stay up, I won't talk about, and I will talk about if we go down as well, don't worry. But if we do stay up, do you think this would be a mini pre-season? And will we have a head start on other teams? Because Man United, for example, they might get rid of Michael Carrick and bring a new manager in, but we've got a manager in already. And I remember with Thomas Frank, they had Amorim already. So Amorim was able to do the legwork to get Cunha in, even though we won the final, but we had to wait to Thomas Frank to get in, then to him to verify those transfers. And then we were slightly behind because Mbeumo was already talking to Man United. I know they are a bigger establishment than us, and they would have probably gone to Man United anyway. But the fact that we've got 7 days, you can see it, you can almost use it, not as a pre-season, but he gets a chance to look at them, really look at and understand the players, understand their personalities, the characters, what makes them work, how to push them. Some players you might have to dangle the carrot over their head. Some players you might have to like give them the, you know, love and hug. Because he did talk about in his interview, he did talk about like a softer side. I can't remember the words he used, but he kind of said like he wants to kind of help them, if that makes sense, rather than he didn't come across like he wanted to shout and scream at them. We know how intense he is. We know he's going to do that. But is there a chance that in this moment he gets to understand the players, get in their heads, and then we can start the ball rolling for the players that we need to get in and start talking to agents early and get ahead of like some of the other clubs?
Yeah, I think that logic. Yeah, I think that is the case. Yeah, definitely. You know, I think regardless whether you are, and I think he said that in his first interview, he's prepared whatever happens. That he's going to be making decisions on what the squad's going to be like, where regardless what division we're going to be in next season.
Yeah.
So I think he's prepared for it. And I think, yeah, he will get to know what the squad is, but I don't think you'll get to know enough within 7 games. I don't think you can get.
Are you happy with him in the Championship or not? You think that we should have?
I think it's a massive risk to have somebody on that big salary in the Championship.
Will the salary go down? Is there like?
He's got a reduction.
Yeah, there's a reduction in the salary if he goes
reduction because I thought there was no relegation.
I think it's only something like 35% though.
No relegation clause for him to leave, but if he goes down into the Championship and he gets us relegated, he has to hold us. He has to hold that. You get
I do think it's
the bonuses, etc.
Yeah,
so him coming out saying no matter what I'm here is him saying, listen, I'm committed to the cause no matter what. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. That's why I thought it was very, very interesting what he said in the first interview. I thought there was some very good points there where you know he made it clear, but I think it was made clear from the press anyway, from the ITKs that he was going to stay for. You know, there was no relegation clause, and he wants to be here for many seasons. So whether that's going to happen, I don't know. Because I think the full control thing still is a problem for me, because I think that might rear its ugly head later on when the director of football gets introduced, and
What even in the championship now? I'm talking about like championship. If you get relegated,
I think even in championship or Premier League, I think it's going to rear its ugly head. I think it will do, because I think he's run us into, we've left ourselves in a barrel right now.
So ideally, then, all right. So forget that. Ideally, what do you think should have happened? We shouldn't have got De Zerbi in. Is that what you're saying?
I think we should have got an interim in. I think we should have got an interim in, and then
what interim should we have got in? For example,
I still stick by Mason or Harry Redknapp.
You prefer Mason to getting De Zerbi in now?
I would have done that first, and then make sure we see whether we would stay up.
The reason why I'm asking is because Mason could have taken us to the championship, and then you would have been happy because remember Mason went to West Brom, right? And then he ended up taking him like way down the table. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I just thought that would be. I mean, at the moment, like looking at it now, I mean, obviously, looking at hindsight now, I think they've gone this direction. We have to wait and see what happens.
I don't think there's ever a world where you had the choice to put Ryan Mason as interim or De Zerbi, where you're picking Ryan Mason. It's just crazy. I watched West Brom play under Ryan Mason. They were awful.
They were
really bad. But
you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. I'm saying at the moment, right, the 7 games we had, right, I said that we were always going to go down anyway, regardless. I don't think this team was going to stay up anyway. Right, I was looking at players, people that knew the club. So Chris Houghton, someone that's just suggested in the chat. Harry Redknapp, Glenn Hoddle. Somebody that knows the club. That was it. You know what I mean? That just motivated, galvanized the club. I didn't think this was going to stay up anyway. I don't know if we're going to stay up under De Zerbi anyway. Right, we've gone this direction now. He has to prove himself. Right, I don't care about the manager anymore. It's about him proving himself now, right?
I just don't think that Ryan Mason ever became a viable option as an interim manager now. He's had the chance and he lost the cup final. He took over when Conte left us 3 points within 4th and ended up finishing 8th. He then had a pre-season. He's then been to West Brom and left them in a precarious position where they've technically been in a similar kind of battle of what we have. So I just feel like he could never be on the list again. He can't be on the list.
It was not a case of looking at him his quality wise, right? It was just that he knew the club. He's already been interim at Tottenham.
That's just nonsensical. The postman knows the club because he delivers mail there every day. But you wouldn't have him managing the team. And this is where it gets diabolically stupid. If you have the chance to get De Zerbi,
it's silly.
No, because that is not a reason for someone to be a manager of your football club. He knows the club.
Interim manager, bro. Interim
manager. No, I'm not having it. It's nonsense. Because the guy's been interim 3 times and left us in a worse place than when he started.
Based on what?
Nonsense. No, it's not. No.
How he left?
Don't even try butting in. When you say Glenn Hoddle, I can listen to that.
Just think about it before you start saying stuff like that, yeah? We had 7 games. We had 7 games. No, we had 7 games, right? We've got 7 games to play with at the moment, right? Okay. We didn't have anybody who was going to take us, right? Because they were risking their reputation, right? All the options that we were looking at, people were saying Harry Redknapp, people were saying Sean Dyche, right?
I'm not having that either. I'm not having that either.
So at the end of the day, it was just a case of I didn't think we were going to be safe anyway. I thought it was done anyway. We acted too slow. Right? Right. So at the end of the day, right? And I know I'm getting criticism. I don't care. Right, because at the end of the day we were in the mud. Because at the end of the day it was too late. I think it's too late right now.
But all I'm saying is, if you say to me, Glenn Hoddle, as a Tottenham supporter, I sit here, I say I have to listen to it. This is an elite football player, And the thing is, with people like Glenn Hoddle, I say this all the time. If you want to be a millionaire, you hang around with millionaires. If you want to be broke, hang around with broke people. So it's like with Glenn Hoddle, I can listen to it because I think Glenn Hoddle, elite player, pretty decent coach. So it's not just going to be Hoddle. He will bring in people that he rates, like a bit like what the guy's done over at Celtic there, Martin O'Neill. He comes in, but he brings in 3 or 4 good coaches, which help in understanding that my job is to manage these players and these guys will coach them and put them in the order I want them in. But listen, I have to say this without you trying to defend it. Ryan Mason shouldn't ever, like, it's like we'll moan. People want to moan about De Zerbi, but I keep saying it so people really understand. He managed us for a cup final, lost the game, picked his mates. Yeah, we were fourth. 3 points of him fourth, by the way, with similar amount of games, 7-8 games to go. He ended up finishing 8th. Yeah, and then I haven't finished. Then in the league below, not in the Premier League here, the best league that they say in Europe, which is debatable these days, but not in the Premier League. I'm seeing him in the Championship and that, yeah, getting spanked by Charlton and that, by Nathan Jones. And then people say that's enough for them because he knows.
You're not listening to what the context I've said. I was actually thinking Glenn Hoddle as well with someone like a Mason because he knows the club. That's it. You know what I mean? It's like the thing is, I think people get so emotional about me saying Mason and Glenn Hoddle and all these people. But we had
Glenn Hoddle. No one can argue with you.
7 games. We had 7 games. That's the thing. That's the context what I'm talking about right now. Right? We needed someone to galvanise the club. That was it. That was the whole reason why it wasn't a case of thinking about somebody that's very good.
No, I think the Premier League's changed from there. You've got people like Lebrie and people like that have come in here and shook it up. Do you understand? Like, you've got managers from all over the world playing all different styles of football, which accumulate to mid or low block, which people obviously are obsessed with this day. But there's many styles, and that's the thing. Like De Zerbi, as we've heard from all these people, and one thing we can't get away from, he watches pretty much every game in the top 5 leagues. So all of Germany, England, France, Spain, he's watching all of those top teams play every week. Do you understand? So he's really up to date. This is a guy that's been in our league recently, and let's say it as it is. It's all right saying this and that about De Zerbi, but the last time that Brighton and the first time they've been in Europe was because of him. They haven't seen Europe since, and I don't see him seeing Europe anytime soon. So there's a lot of credit that the guy deserves. I think that we're lucky to get a guy's experience.
I hate when people say that. I hate when people say that.
Right now.
But I think people. This is where we go wrong. We're lucky to get him. This is where we're going wrong here.
We're lucky to have De Zerbi. We've got the worst ownership ever.
Out to be this guy that is.
No. Listen to what I was saying. We're lucky to have him because we've got the worst owners ever. We're never going to get a top manager, really, with these owners. So I think that when I really sat there, if it was down to me last summer when they had Inzaghi over for dinner, I'd have Inzaghi here, and I'd just give him the keys. Because that's another person. Inzaghi was allowed to say, "I don't want this goalkeeper. I'd rather have this £3 million Jan Sommer, and I would rather, stick with the centre backs that I've got, and I'll spend all my money that you're going to give me on Barella." So again, there's another manager who's had major say on a team and got to 2 Champions League finals, won 1 or 2 leagues, won the Coppa Italia. It's like, at the end of the day, yeah, like, if you can get that kind of caliber of manager, then you're not lucky to get De Zerbi. It's a choice that you've made. But I'll say it again, on the way that we're being run and the way this football club is, we're lucky to get De Zerbi. Not because I think that De Zerbi is this he is a pioneer manager, but at the end of the day, not because I feel like De Zerbi is at Pep Guardiola-esque level now. But I still believe that this is a guy that plays a style of football given time and resources that could take Spurs somewhere. And he could, because of his attitude and his temperament, force these owners to look at the football side of the football club differently. Because people like Thomas Frank and Ange, yeah, just get what they're given. I wanted Gahey, I wanted this, I wanted that.
Before you come in box office, your favourite managers that you rate in the Premier League all use De Zerbi's build-up.
Listen, this is not me saying that he's not a good coach. I just think
you're talking about Mason.
No, but I said I wanted Mason for interim. That was it, just till the end of the season.
Pep Guardiola even said this is one of the most important managers
or
of his generation because of how he's changed.
Or Glenn Hoddle with Ryan Mason, or somebody with Ryan Mason, or just people that know the club. That was it. That was the argument that most of the people were saying, because we needed somebody, Tottenham people in the club that could galvanise the team. Now we've gone down this direction because we were desperate, and
I think that Glenn Hoddle should be at the football club anywhere. I think there should be a world where we have a sporting director, we have De Zerbi, and we have a Glenn Hoddle or someone on the board.
David Pleat back, mate. You mentioned David Pleat. You mentioned David Pleat. Well, I would have had David Pleat as well. I didn't like David Pleat when he was here. But actually, looking at some of the people we had before with directors of football, he's
David Pleat. Where did he get us when he took over? Do you remember? We weren't doing too well.
David Pleat is a terrible football coach. He admits that. He is a terrible football coach. He admits that himself. But he is a fantastic scout, and he has contacts in this country. All the smaller clubs, your Leeds and your fucking Middlesbroughs and all, and I say smaller clubs, how dare I, it's a bit disrespectful, but clubs not in the Premier League, he's the man that can knock the door and go and have conversations about getting these players. But most importantly, above that, he's just a good person to have around your training ground, talking to the players. This is like, sometimes you can be not a good coach, but you can be a good mentor. And I think that's what he was to a lot of these players.
He's a very good scout as well.
And I think coaching to the coaches as well. He might not be the man that you want coaching Archie Gray, but he's the kind of man that you want around Archie Gray, giving him ideas, questioning him.
Well, he found Dele Alli. He found Dele Alli. He found a lot of players.
And he understands the identity as well of how this club plays. And that's an important message to pass to the coaches. And I just feel that by not having David there, that David Pleat is the kind of guy, that leaves your football club, and people don't take this wrong way. He leaves, when he's too ill to work. Do you understand? Because his job, realistically, is more than just punching numbers into a computer and what data across 6-7 players in comparisons. His job is big. His job's a more personable level of scouting. What I'm used to when I was playing football, he's the guy that will speak to parents, go to schools and speak to teachers about what was he like and whatever. And he was just a massive part of this football club's identity behind the scenes. And I just think it was ludicrous, like a man that still wants to work, still enjoying his work. And I just think that nobody wins. David Pleat, unless he gets another job working somewhere else, if I'm honest with you, he probably gets ill and he probably becomes, a little bit more unactive. Like a job like what he had, like I said, is the kind of job that keeps him going till he's well into his 80s or 90s. Les Green, a scout I know from Wolverhampton Wanderers, he was working at 87 years of age. So I will stop working when my legs tell me I can't walk no more. But even then, I think I could still probably get out to games on a scooter. You don't get rid of people like that.
Just moving on, just looking ahead slightly. We've been linked to players. I know it's a bit early. We've been linked to a Savinho. Would you guys take him or nah? Savio. Would you take a Savinho for Man City? I mean, looking at where we are right now, chat, get involved as well. Where we are, I know, like I got my personal view on it, but Man City are looking to offload.
I'd get Al Khalouch. I know we've got a load of French attackers, but I would.
If we need somebody who's got a bit more Premier League experience, I think, in that. So I
think the Premier League experience thing's done now to death. There's only so much of a pool that you can get. There's only a few wingers that I actually like that I would say would improve. So people like Ndai, Everton. But you take those kind of players out that are going to be hard to get. Yeah, your Premier League experience for us goes out the window because the other kind of wingers that you want in this league, you ain't getting. So that's why you have to start right now looking into Europe. We're not going to get Yan Diamonde, but that's the kind of player you'd look to bring, or an Al Khalouch, or a Christopher Solis at at Club Brugge, or Saeed Al-Mala, but you'd say with him, he's very young and he's right at that bottom of, he's at that bottom of, Ash, of you don't really know how good or not good he's going to be because he's only really just breaking through in the Bundesliga.
The season,
Well, he's got 14 GA, hasn't he?
Yeah, 14 in total. Somerville, obviously, if West Ham to get relegated, would you guys look at Somerville?
Yeah, I'd take Somerville. If he was going at 25, 30 million, yeah, you'd have to consider that.
It'll be somebody that needs to hit the ground running, though. That's the thing. I'll be honest with you. Because the thing is, though, the wingers that we've got at the moment, I don't think they're good enough at all, to be honest with you. The only one that I would say, though, Kudus was good at the start, but he fell off. He fell off, but maybe
he didn't. He got injured, and we were playing him through injury, and eventually that snapped. When he was fit, he was brilliant. That's just how it goes, and you can't have it both ways. You know, understand?
But Supreme, you do this all the time. You do this all the time. You say he didn't do this. He did not. No. He fell off. I like Kudos.
We ran him into the ground.
I like Kudos. But
we ran him into the ground, mate.
Yeah.
He was playing the Champions League game. He's playing a cup game. He's playing a Premier League game, and then we're going to cry because the man can't play 3-4 games in 10 days. Kudos was fine. And in the second to last game, where he didn't have a very good game and he come off, he was already holding that calf. The next game, we went and played him, and he broke down. It's classic Spurs.
Yeah, I get you. So that was the problem. Maybe we were too over-reliant on him.
He's a good player. He's still in like the top 3 for the most take-ons in the league, and he's been injured for 3-4 months.
But he was falling off though. He still was falling off though.
Yeah, because we were playing him through injury because we were tight bastards and didn't decide to go and get our
I agree with you, but then you're.
I'm not going to sit here and just say, he fell off because there's reason. There's rhyme and reason. When he first come here, we still have
Supreme. It's not that I don't know what's with Tottenham fans. As soon as you say something bad about a play, they get so emotional.
No, because it's easy. Because what was the top?
I love it.
Because it's easy. Just say, "Oh, these players are shit," and could have fell off. But there's context behind it. You're playing him, like I just said. There was a phase before he got injured. He played in the cup. He played in the fucking Champions League and he played in the Premier League. And then the games after it, he got injured and he broke down. But he was already coming off holding his calf. And when this guy can be out for 3-4 months and still be up there for the most take-ons, and he's missed 3 months of football, he's a good player. Like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to just start tarnishing the likes of the brushes
disagree on this.
Dragusin and people like that. Yeah. There's levels to this game. Yeah. And if he's your only and best winger, and you're just going to rely on playing, because that was all Frank's trick was in open play. Yes. Give the ball to Kudos. That's all he had.
We agree, but we disagree. He did fall off. We did fall off, right? Regardless what the context is, he still fell off, right? Maybe that's because of the club not getting somebody else to help him. That's the truth.
It was tactical.
Yeah, and it was tactical because me and Ashmatic say the same thing that you're saying right now because he was playing on the winger. He was playing on the winger.
Give it to Kudos and inshallah, let's hope that he can guard in him. Bring us 3 points back, and you can't play football like that, and you can't judge players off the back.
No, Supreme. That's not how I judge it. And now it's down to opinion now, right? You can talk about take-ons and all this stuff, but on the eye, right, he was falling off like Son was doing last season. Like so, I mean, it's true. Yeah. He's one of our good wingers. I liked Kudos as well. He's got a bit of something about him. Yes, he has. I liked him more in the centre. I thought he should be in the centre. Right? So, but at the moment, he's coming back from injury. He's not going to be match fit right now, isn't he? You know what I mean? So it does look like we do need another winger.
No, yeah, we needed another winger.
We need another winger. Yeah, that's it.
The reason why that Kudos starting to get looked at in a different light is because of our inabilities to build. And this is why I say people say, oh, yeah, you know, fall off and all this. But there comes a point where you have to look at yourself as a football club. Like you could go and get I don't know, prime Kvaratskhelia and put him in our team, he doesn't fix all of our problems. Still not good in midfield in terms of how we're playing in midfield, how we're set up tactically. So it doesn't matter who the players are if you're going to play what Thomas Frank was playing. I don't take that football seriously. And if you're going to try and tell me that, oh, Kudus fell off and all that, playing in that bag of shit. Be serious with me. A man lost his job. We're not sacking a man, but then saying, yeah, but Kudus could do... No, people talking about him running down blind alleys. Yeah, because none of the other players were allowed to get around him to fucking help him anyway. It was Kudus, do everything, get the ball in the box, and basically put it on a fucking sixpence for the likes of Richarlison at the time, or nothing. So I don't look at that as a tactical plan, as a structure. And then I don't look at it saying, oh, Kudus fell off. No, the manager fell off. The manager fell off. Because once he got injured, he won one game.
It's true.
Yeah, but
there's no buts.
I'm sorry.
There's no buts to that. Once Kudus got injured, he won one game.
I'll let you talk because I know that you need your time to shine. But now it's my time to shine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just because you think that's your opinion on it, that's not my opinion on it. I'm sorry. That's not my opinion on it. He fell off. I like Kudus. Yeah? I like Kudus. But I ain't going to be kissing his backside like you're doing right now.
I'm not kissing his backside. I just gave you reality.
Right now because
I gave you reality. Yeah, I gave you a reality and you didn't like it.
I gave you a reality as well. I gave you a reality as
well. No. You're
off.
saying that he fell off. You're saying that he fell off, yeah? But this is the reality, yeah? When he came out of the team under Thomas Frank still, and where we stand today, we've won more games. Let me finish. We've won more games in the Premier League with him than without him. Yeah, and then in that time, a manager's been sacked. So whether you like it or not, the only hope that we've got of winning games is when he's played. And like I said, to begin with, when teams didn't know, that was all that we had.
2 home wins, Supreme. 2 home wins.
Yeah, but you're shouting at me. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the fact is. I'm saying the fact is. No, not 2 home wins. We won more games than that.
2 home wins on the league, bro. So what are you talking about?
I just said that we've won more games with him playing than without him. We've won 1 game.
So what are you talking about?
But he's talking about away wins as well.
So away wins. We're going to just base it on away wins.
Well, I'm basing on everything.
Your argument is on home wins. So what are we doing?
I didn't mention home or away. I just mentioned, because this is what is important, is getting points, is that we've won more games with Mohamed Kudus than without. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not here deluding saying he became less effective. But what's the manager do? What did the manager do to platform or change? Did nothing. He got sacked. So on basis of what we're saying, that if Kudus didn't fall off, then Kudus should be on the bench and Thomas Frank would still be the manager. But none of us want that. So there's a reality, like I said, that with Kudus, we're a better team. Yeah. And fall off or not fall off, it's irrelevant. The manager fell off. The fucking manager fell off. He got the fucking sack.
Yeah. But Supreme, we're just going on about Thomas Frank. Yeah, we agree he was the wrong man. Yeah, he should have been sacked a long time ago. That's all we've done to Dusted now. We don't need to go on about it anymore.
No, but my point was, my point was, if Kudus fell off and was so bad, yeah, how come since he's been, we've won 1 game, and that 1 game against Crystal Palace, we were fucking diabolical. It was horrible. We won the game, but I actually felt like we lost. Because I felt like, how have we come out with 3 points, yeah? There was a phase in the second half, where the ball didn't touch the ground. The ball didn't actually, go on the deck to players. It was just getting punted in the air, yeah? Crystal Palace knocked it back to us, then we knocked it back to them, and then eventually they got the ball on the ground and almost scored a big chance. I'm not coming for the likes of Kudus and stuff, yeah? Playing in that monstrosity. Because this is what everyone does, yeah? This is what will happen. People will say, oh, Xavi Simons is shit. oh, Kudos is shit. But I guarantee you, yeah, you go and put fucking Xavi Simons, yeah, you go and put Xavi Simons in that PSG team, for example, and you go and put Kudos in Atletico Madrid's team or something like that, be a completely different player. So it's like I look at the manager. What did the managers do? Like when he had that player to profile him better when it started to be that it's Kudos or nothing, and now it's just nothing. He didn't do anything.
The problem with okay, fair enough what you're saying, but again, we're not going to agree on who he fell off for me, right? Just because we have to agree to disagree on this one, yeah. I like Kudos, right? I think he could be better in the centre for me because he's got that low bit of gravity when he's playing. He's got that bit of Dembele in him as well, right? So I think he's a better in the centre for me. I agree with you about him being used too much on the wing, and we were focused too much on the wing. You know, and me and Ashmatic have spoken about this quite a few times anyway before. So you're right. We're on the agreement on that. It's just at the moment.
Do I think Kudos is as good as fucking Kvaratskhelia? No, I don't.
No.
But do I believe he's in that bracket below? Yes. Can that guy win you a game of football? Yes. Are we a better team within the team? Yes. But but is there a reality that before he got injured, this team as a team was awful? It was fucking diabolical. So I can't no longer sit at him and say, well, I expect better than from you. When we're playing against Bournemouth and our only response is to start volleying the ball forward. There was a pattern, with Spurs, with him in the team. If we could get on the ball and get it out to him wide and early, we'd be fine. Once teams stop that option, we just start volleying the ball in the air.
I think what you're saying in the chat is quite interesting. Somebody's made a comment about the manager that signed him didn't have a vision to play him centrally. That's on the manager.
No, did he fuck?
You know what I mean? I think, but that was his tactics. I think, and I think that's
because you seen it against Everton, didn't you? The reverse of what happens when you put him in the middle. Kudos had a poor game in terms of he wasn't effective himself, but he attracted 3 or 4 people to him in the middle of the park, and it allowed others around him to go and create that damage. And I feel as though that is when he can be really useful. Like you will sacrifice his output, but the team becomes better. The team's output becomes better. So that's when I look at the manager and I say, you're using your head now. Like he's not being effective on the wing in the last couple of games. So you're putting him in the middle because you're now saying, well, actually, I prefer to have all of those committed men in the middle of the park and now formulate a plan to go around Kudos from both sides. So it's like, that's what I expect.
Would you say, Kulusevski had the same fate happen to him where he run into the ground and loads of people went after him saying he's fallen off? Because there's a difference between falling off and dipping in form and being overplayed. And as a player, you're overreaching because players will say to the gaffer, I'm fine, I can play, because they want to play. They feel like they can carry on. But the reality was he was in the, what's it called? Red zone. I don't like to talk about that. But obviously the medical team, they're flagging it up to the manager, but the manager's ignoring it. And obviously, the inevitable happens. We said it was going to happen to Porro because Porro was being played week in.
People said it was going to happen to Kudos. People said it was going to happen. He's going to get a bad injury.
So it's just the story of Tottenham. You know what I mean?
This guy wins 6 or 7 duels a game. He completes 3 or 4 take-ons a game. Do you understand? He's a super physical player. And I just feel as though what a lot of Tottenham fans want to do at the moment is because things are so bad, just attack absolutely everything. And there's no need to. There's no need to talk about could have fallen off or not fallen off or anything like that. Because when you go back and watch the football that was being played with him, without him, and around him, it's diabolical, really. Really, it is. And the thing is that what people like Kudos for is that he was able to basically operate in that shit tip. That's what people were like, they liked. And as soon as he couldn't, it's now that he's fallen off and all this. No, he hasn't fallen off. The manager fell off and the whole team fell off. And the team has been in fall off since his injury.
But I would say this, if we were to get relegated, Kudos is leaving.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
He is going to Atletico Madrid there. But There was something in the news real quick. I don't want to spend too much on it, but I'll let you guys talk about it if you want to and have your say on it. Daniel Levy, obviously, is trying to claw back shares. And he reckons he was bumped in and out of shares. Joe Lewis said, he was promised some shares, blah, blah, blah. And my question is to you lot. Does Levy still have control slightly? Because I think it is like he's got a good 30% or so of the club. If he gets
another 29.8%, he's got 29.8. It's got 29.8%. And there's a conversation that's happening behind the scene which could go legal, that Levy has had an agreement where he was promised another 10% shares. So effectively his shareholding would then become 30 or 39%, almost 40%, and that changes everything.
Mad. So Levy could take control of the club. He could take control because he's like majority.
Not take control, but it then becomes techie for Viv and co. Yeah.
And does that mean they have to go through him for certain decisions? Because obviously, like I know, like De Zerbi's been made already. That decision's done already. But I mean, other situations, because he liked to control transfers and he had a say on this. When it goes to like a board meeting, wouldn't he have to be?
I don't think that would happen, but I think then,
like, what would happen?
I think he would then have. I think it would be more the club itself, because Levy shares are quite oddly distributed between his own trust and himself, if I remember rightly, and then you've got like this spoof 10% shares that he was promised in completion of, and they've acquired shares that they sold and they got them back, and then there's been some other shares that they've accumulated, and Levy negotiated the deal, if I remember rightly, to getting some of these shares for the Lewis family. And part of the deal was if he could get these people who do not want to deal with the Lewises to sell these shares, that Levy would get some of these shares in return, which adds up to be what we can hear of 10%. And this is what Levy's about to potentially take them to court on, and basically try and fight to say that I need these shares transferring over to me.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
And that will change things again. That will make things a bit more difficult again.
In what way, what will change if he does get an extra 10% specifically?
He could stop a sale.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's more Tottenham the asset that he would have a say on rather than day-to-day things. So like Levy would be able to, if he had that extra 10%, he would have much more of a say about how the club is sold and, like repayment and price and things like that. So yeah, it's very techie right now.
That's mad, because obviously there's I feel like there's a narrative that's changed. Like, oh, if Levy was here, things would be better.
He's an idiot himself, but let's be honest, he would not let this happen.
No, of course. But I'm saying for the future, is he going to be a thorn in our side now that he's been screwed over? Do you think he still has an interest for Spurs, or has he got more of a vendetta against the Lewis family?
From my understanding, him and Viv hate each other. Viv is, if you really know what's been going on, how petty it is. Everybody in Levy's immediate family and close, even like little things like Tracy Dixon is Levy's wife. That Alan Dixon is still the player liaison officer, yeah? Like he's still like he's not banned, yeah. Levy's daughters have been Levy's oldest daughter was seen watching us this season at home. She's banned. She's banned just Levy and his wife, yeah. And everyone else, even his daughters, are still welcome to go and watch Spurs for free and all of that. And it's very weird what's been going on. Like it's very, what's the word? It's very petty and vicious what's been going on from Viv. Like Daniel's not actually allowed.
What I'm saying. Is he going to hold that against them and like try to make them fail and crash and block? Like you said, he's got a chance to block sales. He's got the power to do it. Could he be toxic? And
I don't think so, because the saddest thing is for Levy, like he's in a lose-lose situation because Viv now having control of the club, look what she's done already. Yeah, like obviously the evaluation of the club has took a beat in this season, you know, as it is, you know, how the club started the season to where they are now in terms of valuation. It's a very different value what the club is kind of going to be worth, and it's very petty now between Viv and Levy. As I say, he's not allowed on the Tottenham High Road, you know, and it's got to a point where I think that Levy will be more interested in Viv selling it because he knows that she doesn't have the acumen to run this football club, and he knows that all of them are learning because they left him up to get on with it. You know, they were just collecting their profit, seeing their stadium go up, Europa Leagues being won, you know, like they just collected the money as such. And now they're expected to go in there and we're seeing it. They just don't have a clue. And there's a lot to learn in running a football club, but there's an awful lot to learn of running a football club the size of Tottenham, the bills. You know, it's just you know, people call it a spaceship. It really is. I know I'm very critical on X and whatever about these owners and everything else, but I'd like to think that if you can build something that extravagant, yeah, someone must have a fucking clue of how to keep it afloat and run it, and they just don't have a clue. They just don't actually have a clue. And I think for Levy's point of view, that he would just rather them sell it, you know, because you got to think, all of Levy's actual wealth is tied up in that football club. If that football club tanks, Levy will have his few property investments that he has around London. I think a few things in the Bahamas. I think he's got some property in fucking Switzerland, you know, as like money capsules. Because obviously there was a lot of people putting money over there in these offshore tax safe havens in Switzerland, and the government shafted them all. And I think Levy was a bit clever. When he seen them all got done, he actually got some of his money out of those kind of places and he bought more property. But I just feel as though even that property that he has, it's not the kind of £1 billion wealth. And there's this talk about that Levy wants to get involved in Formula One, doesn't he? He wants to be involved in the Formula One team.
Yeah. Box office, quick one. If Levy was in charge, hypothetical, do you think he would have given the power to this?
No. He's not that type of guy. He knows he would have made sure he's got some power. You know what I mean? He's not that type of. He's a leader.
The thing is with Levy spent all these years learning how to run a football club and building his own connections. That he's not going to have a match. It's like they're happy to let that happen because they don't. But Levy spent 20 years learning football. And whatever we think about him, he still spent 20 years in football learning.
Well, he knows how to. The fact is, I mean, when they let it go of him, you normally have a handover, don't you? Yeah. And they didn't do the handover. I mean, that's why we're finding ourselves in this position right now. You know what I mean? Because the people that are in charge right now, which is a video that I did in October after Levy left, and people were saying that we're the sleeping giant, which was a load of rubbish at the end of the day. Because I said that there's still people in charge that have got no clue. Johan Lang and Vinay, and look what's happened right now. I said, you know what I mean, on Mr. TV again, you know what I mean, the legit box office, if you want to know. If you don't know, get to know. But the point is, though, yeah, right? You know, it's like, for me, it's just like, you know, they should have done a handover. And for me, yeah, Daniel Levy would have sacked Thomas Frank sooner, 100%. He would have put somebody in charge that would have been. He would have either gone to De Zerbi sooner, rather than Igor Tudor. He would have had Paragy run the roost rather than Johan Lang. He would have got rid of Johan Lang a long time ago, right? And yeah, he would have been penny pinching, yes, 100%, because that's what he's like, always in transfer windows. But he would have found he would have got players in. He would have got players in.
So what you said, he wouldn't have folded to like, see how these man folded to...
no, he never would have folded.
Like money, I'm talking about 5-year contract.
No, he never.
Remember, he did cough up for Conte. When things were going square, when things were going pair, he quickly ran to Conte, coughed up the money then, and he does spend a
Yeah,
lot
but
of
you
money.
know, it always is, Ash. It's cheaper to go and get a big name manager than it is to get an up and coming manager and then get him the players for him to establish his name. Like, because he will always look at the established managers saying this is money well spent, because no matter what crap I'll give him, he's good. He should be good enough to at least give me my minimum standards, and that's like European football. Whereas if you're getting like the next cab off the rank for etc., that he's coming to make his name and establish himself, and you buy them those establishment players, that's an expensive project. Whereas buying Conte and kind of having him in the window, but knowing that on the shelves in the shop are empty and you're not going to replenish them, you know, buy what you can see, the focus on what you can see and not what you can't, like that suits Levy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just think it's, you know, I listen, Enid needs to go. 100% need to go. All right? Because they're not going to get it. The football side, they're not going to get it.
Do you think they're trying to sell the club? Do you think they're actively trying to sell?
I've got no idea on that one. I've got to be honest, Ashmatic, because, you know, lots of people are making assumptions that could be by just little signs. I can't really tell the signs on that at the moment. I think I'm going on their word that they wanted to keep the club and wanted to try and prosper the club and be ambitious. But they're not going to get the football side. The fact is that we don't know our identity. We don't know the philosophy of the club. They're bringing the manager to get that philosophy, but that shouldn't be the way that things should go. Look at Brighton. Look at Brentford. Look at Bournemouth. You know what I mean? That's how you run a club. That's how you run from top down. That's how you run a club, and that's how you make sure you have when you've got a director of football. When you lose a manager, you go for the next manager that plays a similar way.
Another hypothetical, slight caveat.
Yeah.
Is there a world where, as I said before earlier in the show, De Zerbi gets the transfers that he wants because he's got all the power, and they throw money at it because they're desperate to move up the league, and they're terrified that relegation that we're in now has terrified them. If De Zerbi gets it right, what is his ceiling? And then also, do people feel different about Enoch if we were to hit, I don't know, top 6 next season?
No.
Do you think the fans would? Because remember, there was protests that were meant to be planned.
No, I think the fans will be happy for De Zerbi and the players, but they won't. Like, they'll still look at the owners and think you're shit.
No.
Like, because what they'll look at it as is that they'll be happy that those owners are producing that, but they won't be happy that where the club really is, because this is a massive football club. Like, when we look at that list of Tottenham on that list with the 10 richest clubs in the world, and all of those clubs right now, they play good football, they've got good players, really good players, and they're always about in their own leagues, either domestically or in Europe, winning stuff. Whereas us, like getting to Europe and stuff, they're like, that's like so 2015, 16, you know? Like, we've done all that. Like, for us, it's about kicking on and winning FA Cups again, winning League Cups again. Like, Tottenham should be in the Europa League minimum every season. Like, Europa League should be like doom and gloom for us.
So what's his ceiling? What's De Zerbi's ceiling?
I can give you that at the moment.
If he gets like 150, 200 million pounds to spend, then he should be finishing in the top half of the table, and he should be aiming for Europe. You know, that's what we should be. We shouldn't really be aiming. We shouldn't have a season in the Premier League where we start it where we're just aiming to be in the top 10. We should be aiming to be top 4, top 5.
I do agree with Supreme there. Don't get used to it, Supreme. But yeah, I do agree with you there. That we need to get into top 10. Yeah, I think that's a. I mean, I think at the moment,
is that a minimum or is that because
like if De Zerbi spent 200 million?
I'm not talking
I'll
about
give you an example. If De Zerbi spent 200 million pounds this summer, for example, and he finished 8th or 10th, I'm not happy with that. It's not good enough, really.
Are you happy if he finished 8th or 10th in his first season?
No, I'm not happy with that.
I think for the season that we've had, last season, or this season, I think that's that's got to be satisfactory. I don't think I can see what Supreme's saying. You know, we look at ourselves as a big club, but I just think at the moment, with if we could end the downward trajectory, I think that would be an achievement at the moment, because I mean we have been massively going downhill.
Let me ask you a question off the back of that. What's more important right now? Is it like, all right, we get 10th or 9th, but our playing style, you can see it. You can see that playing style come through, and fans are loving football again. Do you know what I mean? Because for a long time, people complained about football being boring, it's robotic, you're not seeing flair. If all of a sudden De Zerbi does get that and he achieves that, and we get like that position, is that acceptable? Because remember, it's one season and the Premier League is getting better year on year. As Supreme already said, the coaches, they're getting more intelligent. They're coming with different ideas. It's one of the hardest leagues in the year. And if you look at the top 6 or top 8 race right now, you've got Fulham vying for it. You've got Brighton vying for that European spot. You've got who else? Brentford. Brentford are going for Champions League with Chelsea. They're like a point or a couple points. Imagine Chelsea and Liverpool are falling off, beating every team. So are we expecting too much too soon in that first season? But
I feel as though this is I feel this is a football club generating £600 million. Yeah, the clubs that I talk about in that list, yeah, will all be playing in Europe next season. So I'll say it again, that like Tottenham finishing 6th, 7th, 8th, yeah, like the context of where we've been, yeah, like that's not the fans' fault, yeah, and that's not our standards. So I don't see a world, I'll be real. Like, I'm not going to be on Twitter saying, get him gone, he's a fraud. But I'm not going to sit there and act like I'm happy, because at the end of the day, the size of this football club, the money, it's like anything, yeah? If you shouldn't have that much money. Yeah, you've got that much money because you're not investing in your football club. And what you've started to do is you've started to say, actually getting top 4 is no longer that important anymore, because I've got 20 events and I've got Beyonce coming, and I've now got a contract with the boxing, that cash injection is the difference of me now needing to be in the top 4. So now actually Champions League money is a bonus. And it's like, you're finishing every year making far more money. Your wage bill's nowhere near. Yeah. So this summer, like I expect them to go and get the wage bill nearer the clubs where we should. Well, I look at that list. I keep going back to that list. They need to look at that list of those football clubs and look at what they're paying their players in terms of wages, what the league is, because all those clubs that I'm talking about, they're all paying the top wages in their league. All AC Milan and that, they might not be winning the Champions League, but for Italian team, they're still paying their players top money for that league. So it's like there's a trend, and Spurs need to go and follow that trend. And as I say, like I'll accept that we're finishing 7th, 8th, 10th, 12th because we're not investing in the wage bill, because we've not got those players. But at the same time, I'm not also accepting it because you've got the money. Yeah, you've got the money to bridge that gap. You've got the wages to build that gap. So, like I say, like finishing not in Europe for me, yeah, and not winning anything, it's not good enough. So I always sit there and think,
but there is a world where some players talk to their agents and they're like, we're not going Tottenham. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, remember last season when we got the Champions League place, we were going for Morgan Gibbs White. Obviously, I shouldn't really bring that one into it because that's neither here or there. That's to do with Marinakis. But we then moved on to Eze, and like in the ideal world, we do get Eze in it, and like a couple more million or us acting a bit quicker, we probably got that over the line. But this season going into it, there might be a few players that turn their nose up, like what Semenyo did. Do you know what I mean? So we could have that situation. Yeah, we've got the money, we're willing to pay the wages, the high wages.
Yeah, but there's still good players out there. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you didn't get Semenyo, but Al Kalouche was still there. That guy's still knocked in. That guy's knocked in as much GA as fucking Lookman did. You had Lookman there begging to come. Follows all of our players. His agents, Kudos, his agent. They offered to do a double deal when we got Kudos. They're already offering us Lookman when he was on strike and stuff. And Lookman was on, before we got Kolo Muani, was ready any moment to fly to London to do the deal. So it's like there was the players out there that would have improved us and made us better. There's always players. You have to buy someone. You can't do what we did and just say, oh, we can't get Semenyo, we can't get Savinho, we just don't buy fucking anyone. And when you're in the position that we're in as well, when you're not, it's like you're willing to pay Conor Gallagher 200 grand a week, but you're not willing to actually get the players that you actually need. And you're not going to cost you 200 grand a week. Like both of those players would have played for 100 grand. Well, Lookman would have cost us 140, 150 grand a week. And Al Kalouche, you're tripling his contract, you're tripling his wages to 100 grand a week. And he's done. Easy deal.
So I'll say back to box office, you're saying in terms of like ceiling, you're happy with, you don't know actually. You said you don't know, but you're happy with the 8th or 10th position.
Well, at the moment, I think at the moment we've been finishing so low recently, and we could have got at the moment we don't even know if we're going to lose our Premier League status at the moment. So I can't really expect too much from the team. Too much, you know what I mean? I don't think there's going to be
one game a week, to be fair. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but we can't even get past. We're going to get past 40 points now at the moment, Ashmatic. You know what I mean? So. At the moment, we're just talking about a few wins at the moment to just, keep up, which is ridiculous. You know what I mean? So, like I say, I don't know what the ceiling is at the moment. And so he looks a good coach, but I'm the same like I was with Pochettino. Pochettino had to prove himself for a year and a half for me.
But that's what Pochettino did, didn't he? He said from the start, like he was always aiming to win the league. Because he said that if I'm aiming to win the league, then maybe not winning the league looks like second, it looks like third, it looks like fourth, it looks like fifth, it looks like sixth. But like I say, that like as a football club, like that should always be our ambition, really. We should always be aiming to go for the number one spot. And if we're not, obviously, which we usually are, not good enough to be there, then that might look like at worst fifth or sixth.
We're not good enough to do that at the moment. I think. Listen, it depends on what happens in its six. These 7 games, and then what happens in this. What's happened next year. But at the moment, I think the club needs to just stop this directory of going downhill. Because the directory of the football club has been going downhill. This is why we're in this position right now.
One last question, yeah, and then we'll wrap it. And it's going back to the future, if De Zerbi loses against Sunderland and Brighton, is there a world where he crashes out, or is it too early to say?
Nah.
I do think he's got a rude awakening when he sees some of the players, because I think. I do think. I mean, he did say that he has seen some of the players, but I think there's a difference when you actually are with the players and actually in the matches, and then when you're seeing it from the outside. Because I think Igor Tudor shown it straight away. You know what I mean? He's shown it straight away. When he was very positive when he went in, and then he realised, oh, it ain't that great. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I don't like this revisionism from Tottenham fans saying, "Oh, well, it's good." And then I don't like that. Oh, hopefully Supreme comes back. Oh, bloody hell, he came. He go there. Crashed out. Crashed out. There you go. Did you just crash out?
No, it's nothing that it was nothing that you were. It's nothing that you said.
And I've had enough.
He crashed out. So it's just basically, I just think at the moment, I think we're just doing a lot of revisionism at the moment. I think, and I just think we just have to see how it plays out. I think we're down. I think we're down, regardless whether. Because I just think it's just way too late at the moment. But if he does adapt, he gets the credit. But he's got a huge job ahead of him.
I'm just going to play this clip. No, I agree. He has got a massive job. We can't run away from it because regardless of all the hype and all the rest of it and what people think he's a good coach, blah, blah, blah. These players, man, there's something else. You know what I mean?
Three managers, Bob. They've had 3 managers this season. 3 managers.
Yeah, that can't be like, we can't skip past that. Do you know what I'm saying? So valid points, box office. I'm just going to play this video real quick and then we'll sign out. But this is the Adam Lallana clip for those who ain't seen it. Have you seen it, box office?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's just a bit of education now because sometimes I like to educate as much as I can. But big up for those who've seen this already. We're just going to talk on this real quick.
What is it that sets Roberto apart?
He's the most hands-on coach I've ever worked with on the training pitch. He's in the centre, orchestrating, becoming the playmaker, becoming the centre half, becoming the keeper at times, showing us the finer details of what he wants. He brings his Italian tactical side. You know, the Italians have been known that they're always very tactical, organised. So he brings that, but without being typically Italian, if that makes sense. That's why I think that the Premier League fits so well for him, because he loves our application, the British kind of mentality. We want to work, we want to run, and with his kind of tactical insight, I think it's a special combination. And I always hear him kind of saying, he's like, I love it how you, I tell you guys one thing, and then you do it straight away. So he doesn't need to like repeat himself. And
yeah, man, big up, man. Guys, any final thoughts before we check out, man? And big up to the chat as always, man. But yeah,
big up the chat, man. Big up the chat.
That's been
in a crazy way, I'm actually excited again. I'm actually excited to see how this goes, you know what I mean? Because that's one thing you can always be guaranteed with De Zerbi. It's a roller coaster, you know? And like, I feel as though one thing we'll always see from this man is that he's going to wear his heart on his sleeve, and we'll see exactly what he feels and how he feels it. And I feel like a lot of fans say that they just want to feel something again, and I think De Zerbi could bring that. I do.
So you think we stay up? Yeah, that was your final thought. And
I think we'll stay up under him. Yeah, I think there's games there that are winnable. I think that there's players coming back, and I just feel as though that's the kind of manager that will be able to, resonate a plan with those players. But see what you said about these players. These players want to play a certain brand of football, whether you think they're good enough to do it or not. Yeah, they want certain responsibilities that Thomas Frank took away from them that they want. So, like this manager, to a degree, he will obviously spend more time on his actual tactics in the summer. But I just feel now that if they want to express themselves and having a chance to express themselves playing away, this will be a manager that will do that.
Box office, what are you saying, man?
Whether or not, whatever he said, it was a good first interview because he made some good points, and I think he addressed a few things, especially about that he's not going to talk about his philosophy when he needs to win games. But I think the evidence shows you in mid-season he struggled. And with this team at the moment and the injuries that we've got to our footballers, I think he's got a huge job ahead of him to keep us up. I think I do think I stick by what I say. I think now we've got him in, I do think we're going to give Aston Villa a game. I think we're going to give Chelsea a game because I thought we were going to lose those games. So it might give us a chance to get a draw. But I do think
if you get it wrong, would you throw your hands up and say, "Look,
yeah,
Zerbi's got me."
But he's still got a huge job ahead of him, though. Still, Ashmatic.
Is that are we gonna do that then? Are we? All right, I hear it.
You know, still, I mean,
you don't give him credit, but you can give him credit though for keeping us up.
We can give him credit, but he's only had 7 games though.
Yeah, but you're saying that we're going to go down anyway, so you gotta give the guy credit.
I want you to be honest. I want you to be fair. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I said I'll give him
us
credit.
up,
I'll give him a blue Peter badge.
Look, fair enough. You prove me wrong.
I'll give him a blue Peter badge, but it's just to save us from relegation at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It's been a terrible season, so there's nothing to get, you know,
I'll be happy about it.
Fix from what Thomas Frank and Tudor did.
I'll be close to tears.
I don't want you to come across that you're being unfair. That's what I'm saying. I just want you to say, look, I get that, like, we can't predict the future, innit? And you can do that. You can do all of that. But I'm saying for the current time, if it keeps us in the league, and you said that we're going down to the championship, but he keeps us up, can you then admit that, right, you know what, De Zerbi, I'll give him
your blue Peter badge. Thank you very much. Yeah. That's all you're gonna get from me.
You got to say blue Peter badge. Why you got to do that for? Bro?
Yeah, because you come
across disingenuous. You come out you're sour, and you're not sour. You're not a sour guy like that. Man. You're not. You're better than that, man. You can just say, you know what, I got this one wrong. You know what I'm saying? And
I think if De Zerbi keeps Spurs up, he deserves all the credit, because on his way in, we've been on a one-way tirade down. We haven't even won a game this year. Like, him winning a game this year will be a massive achievement. So I feel as though if the guy keeps us up, he deserves the credit and he deserves the respect.
He gets a little bit of credit, but I'm sorry, we're not going to
get. Wait. If you get right, you get all the flowers. How about that? How's that?
This is not a right or wrong thing here. It's just I'm just talking truth here. I'm just talking truth here.
Okay. If he's right though, if he's right though, he's got to look forward to playing Lincoln City and Charlton.
Yeah, of course, isn't it? Of course. Yeah. I'm saying your truth is your truth. If your truth is right, you say give box office his flowers. But if your truth is wrong, equally, we could say, you know what? I got it wrong. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, okay. I'll just say those little words that people get so excited about because they need to hear it. I got it wrong. Yeah, but still, we need to still.
I just say, look, I put my hands up. Robert De Zerbi. You know what I mean? Fair enough. That's cool.
But I do still think that that he, he's got a lot.
You ain't got to finish it like this, bro. You could just say, you know what? Cool. You can. I'm just saying, you can.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, you know what? Let's see how it plays out, and I'll be like, all right, cool. We will adjust this at the end of the season. You get it? Halfway through the game.
Yeah, it's by me, man.
Oh, I see. I thought what's going on there? Yeah.
We can address it in May. Sorry, we can address it in May when we're halfway through. We know, like,
yeah. Fair enough.
We know we're close.
Listen. I'm not going to be having a party like we did before.
No one's asking you to have a party, cuzzy.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Yeah,
man's ain't saying raw.
Man's not doing that, bro. Man's not doing that.
That'll be a forfeit. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, bro, if you lose the bet, I want you to do a break dance and spin on your head. I'm not saying that. I ain't telling you.
I got it wrong.
Spurs shirt. You know what I'm saying? I'm not telling you to put your Spurs shirt on and you have to put your Spurs shirt on for the rest of the streams that you do. I'm not saying that. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not doing all of that. It's too much. Yeah. I'm just saying a simple acknowledgement. That's all.
Yeah, I got it wrong. Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, guys. Big up, love. Please make sure. I don't know how many likes we're on, but please make sure you hit the like buttons. This is a quick show. It was meant to be a quick show. We did 2 hours. Imagine. It was meant to be a video. But I said, raw. My video before, I kept popping down.